Michigan State and Illinois. So a quick update on Terrence Shannon Jr. If you've not been following that whole saga, Brad Underwood had an interview, I think it was earlier today, where he said there's no change in anything right now. Obviously, there are the rumors that he's going to sue Illinois, which will give him a temporary restraining order, so that way he'll be able to play. While that does look like that will happen at some point, if not, it's already happened. I'm not kept up too closely on that. Brad Underwood has said that he will not be playing in this game as of right now. So I guess there could be something that changes tomorrow, but I find it hard to believe that Terrence Shannon Jr. would just show up to the team and all of a sudden be, playing the exact same minutes he was. So even if he does play, probably not going to play, exactly the same as he was. And quite frankly, Underwood's been doing a good job without him. I know they lost to Purdue, but Domask has been very, very good. I think Luke Goody has been a good insertion into the lineup. Coleman Hawkins has been doing well on both ends of the court. Could do a little bit less whining. We talked about that last podcast, but he's a passionate guy, and I appreciate that in players. So I can't always be mad about it. Alec, what are your thoughts? Illinois and Michigan State tipping off tomorrow night.
Yeah, I really do think Illinois is gonna, even if it's it's at Michigan State. That's right, right?
Yeah, I think I mixed it up there.
Okay,
No, it's at
I was okay, cool. Then I just mixed it up. But yeah, I mean Illinois playing at home, even if it was at the Breslin Center, I would say that Illinois is going to win this game. I really think they're playing really well right now, even without their star. Like you mentioned, Domask has been a star coming into this team. I think he can carry the load. Coleman Hawkins, if he can, he just got to tighten some things up, but I think he has a chance to look really good too. And I just don't think Michigan State has the firepower to keep up with a Domask and a Coleman Hawkins, and even if Quincy Guerrier can get going from the floor. I think this Illinois team has looked pretty connected without Terrence Shannon. And whether he does come back or he doesn't come back, I think this team is going to look pretty good against Michigan State. The Spartans, there's just not a whole lot going on right now. Even I feel like Tom Izzo, like we just saw Nick Saban retire earlier today. I think Tom Izzo is going to be the surprise retirement of this offseason. That's my hot take, blazing hot, all that. I think Tom Izzo might be the surprise retirement this offseason. I think this Michigan State team can still win a game or two in the tournament, but it doesn't feel like it has the same juice. And as I say that, they're going to bring Rutgers in the Breslin Center and beat them by 20. So that could come back to bite me. But yeah, I think Illinois is going to win this game fairly easily. But not fairly easily as in they're going to win by 15. I think it's going to be they're going to get a lead and they're going to stay ahead no matter what kind of push Michigan State gives, because they're still talent. It just doesn't feel like the same Michigan State team of years past. But yeah, I think Illinois is going to win this game.
Well, Michigan State just doesn't have the strong defense down low like they've, had in the past. I was looking into a player like Xavier Tillman earlier today, and just what he was always able to do for Michigan State, really that defensive presence down low. And they just don't have a guy like that. They've been called soft this year. They've been called, basically every word in the book that, would make you question, are they playing, to the highest degree possible? And I would say even the fans that I've talked to, no, they feel like they're not. They feel like Tyson Walker doesn't have the most help. AJ Hoggard isn't exactly who he needs to be. Now, the last 5 games for Michigan State, they've been very good. They are averaging nearly 23 23 assists per game. That's amazing, kind of unheard of in the last 5 games. So they've been really good there. They've been rebounding the ball pretty well. Defensive rebounds, they're 28 rebounds a game there. So, I mean, they're doing a good job these last 5 games, but I kind of just feel like Illinois is just a really darn good basketball team, and it's at home for them. And, while I do think Tom Izzo has been the better coach throughout his career, I think Brad Underwood's just cooking a little bit more this season, and I can see Brad Underwood possibly out-coaching Tom Izzo in this game, especially at home. Burke, what are your thoughts on the Michigan State-Illinois game?
My thoughts are this will be one in the front court. Coleman Hawkins will need to perform. If it's talent versus talent, I'm taking Domask in Illinois' backcourt than Michigan State, or then Walker in Michigan State right now. That being said, like Tyson Walker, he could solo this game. He could solo any game, any given night. Right. And he might honestly be due to do just that. But as far as just what they're bringing to the front court, like Illinois performed very well against Purdue, and that was a Purdue team that sank Edey off of Ty Rogers, just let Edey operate down low. And if that's the key to beating this Illinois team, if Michigan State tries to follow that method, like the free hunting Madi Sissoko doesn't scare me nearly as much as Zach Edey, free hunting Zach Edey would. So I think this Illinois team would be ready for anything Michigan State has to throw up against them, defensively at least.
Yeah, I'm looking at CBB Analytics, which I forgot to do the ad for that earlier. CBB Analytics, go check them out. They're a very good resource that they allow us to have a free pro tier, so that way we can tell you about it. And I want to make sure I actually tell you about it since I forgot to say it earlier. But when I look on CBB Analytics, like I said, the last 5 games have been really good for Michigan State. They are in the 100th percentile in their offensive rating. Well, so is Illinois. Illinois has an offensive rating of 131, and Michigan State has an offensive rating of 127. And they're both in the 100th percentile for teams in the last 5 games that they've played. So I would not be surprised to see an offensive affair here. I would not be surprised to see at least one of these teams get up above 80, maybe both at some point. But at the end of the day, I agree with you, Burke. I think it comes down to the front court. You know, is Coleman Hawkins going to be able to be that defensive presence down low? He's not quite got the blocks this season as he normally has, and that's kind of, you know, teams scheming a little bit more to bring him out to the perimeter. He's still a very good defender. He's just kind of not down low making those blocks as much this season as he normally is. But I still like Illinois in this game. I think they're going to come away with the win. Like I said earlier, you know, Brad Underwood and that kind of stuff. But ultimately, like, you know, they're just the more talented team. They're the team that's gelling a little bit more right now. And ultimately, they're just the team I trust more. And so we'll see if I'm right. But or go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, credit to them for being able to trust them as much as we can right now. I really thought after the Terrence Shannon thing, much like you're like, is this the same Ohio State? I thought that Terrence Shannon moment was like, oh, this is exactly the same Illinois.
Right.
Like they are due for a tailspin, and this will be the same season as was the last, as was the one before. That isn't the case. These guys are banded together around Underwood, and they're playing some damn good ball.
They are. And you know, I said going into the season that my biggest concern with Illinois was consistency, and I didn't know if I could trust them game in and game out. So that takes a lot for me to say here that I trust Illinois. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is Brad Underwood has just done a really good job coaching this team this year. After losing Terrence Shannon Jr., it would have been really, really easy for this team to just, you know, nosedive and start playing for themselves and panic and get stressed out. I don't feel like they're doing that though. I can be a little critical on Brad for playing Ty Rogers and Dane Danger as much as he did against Purdue in times when Zach Edey was on the floor, and I felt like it just wasn't a good matchup. But at the end of the day, he's done a really good job this season coaching this team, not only in games, but also it seems like off the court, getting them ready. So, Alec, are you with me? Do you think Brad Underwood has just been a much better coach this season? Do you think maybe it's fool's gold right now, and they'll kind of come back to maybe some of that inconsistent play that we've seen before? What are your thoughts on Illinois?
Yeah, I mean, if they're without Terrence Shannon for extended periods of time, I don't think they'll keep up this level of production. I think they will fall off at least at some point. But yeah, I think Underwood's doing a really great job. He's scheming up some really good stuff, especially with Domask. He's such a great player. Offensively, can just produce at such a high level. And I really think he's doing a great job. If they don't get Shannon back soon, I think they will have a couple of games where they slide back a little bit. But for now, I mean, things are looking really good. And it's going to come up to March once again because he's had the regular season success over and over with guys with Kofi and Ayadasumu. It's just the March success that has not gotten there yet. And if he can string together some wins in March, then I'll feel a lot better about Illinois and Brad Underwood. But that's what it's just going to come up to. And if they're without Shannon, I don't feel as confident. But if they do get him back at some point, then sky's the limit for this team, I think.
Isn't that what it seems to come down to for every Big Ten team? It's like see what you do in March.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just been like the story of this conference, man. Burke, you look like you want to say something.
No, I was just going to say, building on that, how you were saying, it is pretty strange how you do expect them to take a little dip, and that's understandably because they're playing they're playing out of their minds right now. But that is a testament to Underwood in himself. Like a dip after that, you would think that dip would come right out of the gate while they were trying to find a way to gel without the guy that they have all been gelling around. So yeah, I mean, it's just a credit to what he's been doing this season as a head coach.
Totally
makes
agree.
A guy really jealous.
Totally agree. I hope Sonny is watching this episode so he knows.
I love Mike Woodson, by the way. Just gonna say, I love him to death.
Yeah.
But God knows it was a bad one.
Thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.